So we want to bring in Christina Ruffini now to discuss Washington's response to Abe's assassination. Christina, we know that Abe met a number of presidents. He did meet the current president as vice president under President Obama. What are we hearing from the White House this morning?
Good morning, guys. Yeah, the White House just released a statement. I literally have to pull it up on my phone for you. The president said, "I am stunned, outraged, and deeply saddened by the news that my friend Abe Shinzo, former prime minister of Japan, was shot and killed while campaigning. This is a tragedy for Japan and for all who knew him." You know, he wasn't prime minister anymore, but he was still campaigning for his party, for his seat in the Diet. And it's just, as we've been talking about, it's such a strange thing in Japan to have gun violence at all, let alone an assassination of a political figure who didn't seem to be, at least from the outside, that controversial or someone you would expect to foment this kind of hatred. It's just really left everybody reeling. You know, I've been to Japan with secretaries of state. We've met with foreign ministers. You know, I've been in the room with him at some points, and it's just shocking to all world leaders. I think it's a there, but for the grace of God, go I kind of feeling, and it's really shaken everybody to their core. And the Secretary of State is overseas in Asia. He's in a meeting right now with the Japanese foreign minister, and the statement just came out where, in addition to the agenda they're trying to stick to, you know, North Korea, Pacific issues, he said he said again his condolences for the assassination of Abe.
Absolutely, especially considering how long a lot of those relationships have lasted at this point, considering how long he's been on the world stage. Christina, I also want to ask you, later this morning, President Biden is expected to address the country on abortion rights. So what can we look for in his speech?
This is the first time since this Supreme Court decision happened that we're expecting President Biden to try to take some concrete action to protect abortion rights in federal law. Now, keep in mind, he can only do an executive order, and he's limited to what he can actually get done through that power. But earlier this morning, the White House sent out a few bullet points about what we're expecting in that EO. They said the president will direct HHS to protect access to medication abortion and take steps to ensure emergency medical care for pregnant women and those experiencing pregnancy loss. The order is also going to direct agencies to educate medical providers and insurers about how and when they are required to share privileged information about patients. That's something abortion rights advocates have been really fearful of, that information, period tracking apps, things like that, could be used to go after women who've had the procedure. The president will also order agencies he's also going to ask the Federal Trade Commission to take steps to protect the privacy of those seeking reproductive care online. But as we mentioned, the president has said over and over again, there's only so much he can do, and he's urging Congress to take action and try to pass a law that will codify the protections of Roe, into federal law. But as we know, nothing moves in Congress well these days, and that seems unlikely to happen.
I want to ask you about the jobs report. The numbers just came out. How are they looking? As I understand it, they're actually better than we thought they were going to be.
They're better than we thought they were going to be, but the real issue is not the jobs report number, right? It is how Americans are feeling about the economy. And inflation is still an issue. So these jobs reports numbers, you know, economists get spun up about them. The administration likes to put them out. The issue is that if average Americans don't feel like the economy is doing any better, it's not going to be relevant to everybody's everyday life if gas prices are still high. Now, they are coming down. But, you know, you really have to emphasize when we get to November, you know, almost 400,000 jobs added. Unemployment is strikingly low. We have heard over and over again, it's still an employee's market, right? Employers are still short on labor. You should be able to negotiate higher terms for your jobs. But in practicality, polling shows and just anecdotally shows that people are just not feeling great about the economy. And that's something the White House continues to try to battle, both in messaging and in policy. We'll have to see if they can make any kind of impact in that before the November midterms, or it's really going to cost Democrats at the polls.
Yeah, very unsettling for a lot of